Hi, everybody, and welcome to our latest episode of Racing with the Reverend. I now have, as promised, the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife, in a Volkswagen GTI, a car that I used to own. This is a 2019. This is the TCR. I used to have a 2010 way back in the day. We are very happy to be here. Starting fifth today, it looks like. Go! Los geht's, as we would say in Deutschland. So, why do I pick the Nürburgring? Well, this is an experience, I can tell you that. Oh, there's wall number one. Back about 7 years ago, I actually got to drive here. My older brother and I decided to go to Germany. It was my birthday present from my mom to be able to go to Deutschland and be able to do this. My brother and I rented a GTI that was sport outfitted. It wasn't a race car. It was more sport outfitted, but it had the sport tires, tighter suspension, and was used to running the ring. And so I got to do this for a lap, and I can tell you it scared the ever-living crap out of me driving this place. Think about driving a tight mountain road. Like, let's say you're going up the front side to go to Big Bear Lake. There are portions of that are extremely tight, and you have to really be paying attention to what you're doing. That's the ring. You really can't experience the ring without going there. The day that we went in the morning just to drive out there. We were staying in Koblenz, which is a beautiful town. I highly recommend it if you want to stay out of the big cities. You can go to Koblenz. It's about maybe an hour, 90 minutes south of Cologne, or Köln, as the locals will say. And it's about 3 hours north of Stuttgart. But we drove out the morning of our lap times. It was me, my brother, and a couple of our buddies from Michigan, and we were stoked. I mean, I was sick. I had a cold the whole week we were there, which sucked. So I wasn't feeling great, but we went out there. We did the shops. We saw the little roller coaster. There's another wall. We went on the roller coaster. It wasn't open, but we saw the roller coaster. And it's just a beautiful part of the country. The drive up there was just gorgeous as David hits another wall. So that puts us back up to 8th. The area of the country this is in Nürburgring is just beautiful. This is about 45 minutes to an hour west of Koblenz. It is really close to the Belgian border. I think, if I remember correctly, the guys that gave us our briefing for the drive around the ring said that Spa is about an hour away from the ring. And they also do the same type of running there that you can do at the Nürburgring, although I'm sure it's not near as wide open because the track at Spa is much, much shorter than the ring, obviously. This is now we're heading up the hill, up the back stretch, flat out. In the GTI, there's really no need to use 6th gear. You're not going to gain anything. I think I do shift into 6th right there. And I lost 2 miles an hour off my speed. So shifting into 6th in this car, not a good idea. So we spent the day at the track. I took a nap in our rental because I was just so dead after we walked around the shops, which were great. I got a Nürburgring mouse pad. I got you know, we picked up some nice merch there. So I took a nap for a little bit, and then we went to our briefing at the place where we rented our car, RSR. And we show up there, and you sit down, and there's guys that are running. I think it was Assetto Corsa was set up on a rig, and guys were running around the ring on that and crashing all over the place. Oh, this is so much fun. And then they get you into the briefing, and they explain to you the risks of driving the ring, which are many, because this is, you know, it's Armco surrounded by forest, and it's not a particularly easy track to drive. As I'm showing you in this video, I'm not exactly having fun. So, I mean, I'm having fun. I love driving the ring. But you get into the briefing, and they show you a video of one of their experts who's driving around in a Renault and showing you how to drive the ring. And the first thing he tells you is stay off the curbing. That curbing doesn't look as intimidating on the game as it does in real life. Which is why you can run up it here and it doesn't really get you as much. But they told you, stay off the curbing. It's just going to throw you around. So stay off the curbing, I did. And then they start running through the costs of everything that it takes to repair and when the payment is due on that. As we're getting ready to go over to the mini carousel, it looks like Renus had a little problem. Now we're into the mini carousel. I usually take that in third gear in this car. It can be taken in second. I think third gives you a better exit. We got to be careful with Renus here. He's slower. And, you know, we don't want to get into anything. There's really not a lot of huge safe places to pass on the ring, but this will be one of them, and it's coming down the Dottingahera. Speaking of which, as we get closer and closer to it, I will show you on the right side. That is the car park for the tourist drives. And these tents on the right, that is where you actually enter to do your lap. So you end your lap before those buildings in the car park, and you begin your lap after them at the tents. And they send you out at spaced intervals, but your first corners are these. So you're already trying to get up to speed, and you're into your first corners. And they also have a little cone chicane set up as we hit the pits. So it'll give me time to say, if you're enjoying this, please give the video a like and subscribe. Comment down below if you wish. Let's keep the comments clean. There may be children reading and watching. Anyway, we lose a few spots, but we're pitting every lap, and I'm realizing that I really didn't need to use medium tires. I probably should have used softs, but that's, you know, for another day. This isn't about the race, it's about the experience. So we're getting to the cost of everything, and I already knew about the car cost because I had to sign a waiver. Before we went to Germany, I had to sign a waiver about the rental car. And this was the only place we were using the rental car, but we had to sign the waiver. I signed it about 2 weeks before we left. And it detailed all the things you can and can't do with the car. This, and this, the usual boilerplate stuff, and then it says, and this is what you're covered for as far as damages go. If you crash the car, you are responsible for up to 18,000 euros. Yeah, 18,000 euros does not sound good, especially when I did not have probably 5,000 euros to my name at that time. So yeah, so that's the first thing. You learn that it's going to cost you a lot of money just for the car. Then, if you crash on the track, you have to pay for the repairs to the track. So you have to pay the repairs for the Armco, and it's by by meter. I believe it's by hundreds of meters. It's each section is like 100 meters or less than that, but it's by section, and you have to pay for that. Any damages to that. That's depending on how much you do. It could be a couple thousand euros. Then when you get to, if you damage the grass, as in like burn, like damage it, like put ruts in it, whatever, you have to pay for the repair to that. If you damage the asphalt, you have to pay for that. So if I had crashed the GTI and ripped out enough Armco and damaged the asphalt, it would have cost me around 25,000 euros to repair everything. Depending on speed of the crash and everything else. So you're learning this in the briefing, by the way. The Armco and the asphalt stuff you're learning in the briefing. The car I learned about before we got there. So I was already like, okay, I gotta be nice because I don't want to crash the car. And I've never driven on a racetrack before. I do a lot of sim, but I've never driven on a real racetrack. I've been around them. I've just never driven on one. So now you're sitting in the briefing, and I went on my Facebook page because Facebook was still a thing in 2019. I went on my Facebook page and posted that I was at RSR and said, "We're gonna die! Woo! I'm gonna die!" That's about how I felt at that point. As we're getting ready to go back up the hill again and hopefully get around Dark Side. Insane 1800's gone. So I'm scared to death. And my brother and I each bought 2 laps, or he bought 4 laps. This is my birthday gift. So I can say that my folks, my mother bought me the laps because my dad had been gone by then. So we're getting ready to go out, and he's taking the first lap. I'm like, just, you take the first lap. I need to see what it's like. And so he takes the first lap. Oh, there's a little bump there. And we're going along fairly well. And it was not around here. It's coming up. We're heading toward the carousel. And we'll get through that. They always told me to enter at the second concrete patch, by the way. So that's a pro tip from the pros. Enter at the second concrete patch. I think it was around this area. I think it was actually right about here where a car crashed. And so yellow flags are out, which you have to obey. And there's emergency trucks, and so you go really slow by it, like maybe 40 kilometers, maybe 40 kilometers an hour. And then when you get through it, you take off again. So we go through that, and I'm like, damn, that sucks. And I had to wait while they repaired the track. So they closed the track. Anybody that was on a flyer had to leave the track. And once you were through with your lap, you had to park. You couldn't wait in line. They weren't sending anybody out. So we went to the car park and sat there for 45 minutes, something like that, half an hour, 45 minutes. And I'm sitting, now mind you, I'm sick. I've got a helmet on. And I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about even being there. And now I have to wait for the track to open for something that I'm extremely nervous about already. So yeah, I'm not thrilled by the prospect. And we're sitting there waiting and waiting, and then finally we see cars moving, so it's like, okay, we can go. And unbeknownst to me, they're sending everybody out in intervals, but everybody's really close because there are lots of cars going to enter the track. And this is on a Thursday. So there's tons of cars going out on the track. I'm going behind a Renault Coupe. I think it was a Megane, I'm not sure. As we start heading down the Donninger Hood again. and I go through the little cone chicane, and I'm off and running. Great, awesome. So I get through, you know, so here we are. Imagine that I've just come out of the car park over here, off to the right of where these buildings are, and now I've gone through the line. Imagine the excitement when you get released from there to go. It's very exciting. And it's put your foot down time. So it's like, I want to go. And I have to remember, I have to treat this place like I'm driving up a mountain. So I am treating this like I'm driving, like I used to drive up to Big Bear Lake. I'm not going super hard, but I'm taking it easy. As we pit again, so remember, please like and subscribe and comment. But keep it clean and keep it on topic, please. So I'm moving, and right about here, I start getting my Porsches. Now, in the briefing, they explained to you, this is treated like a public road. So you need to, as I hit another wall, thank God I didn't have to pay for this car's damages. So the first thing you have to do is you have to put your hazards on, and then you have to move over to the right. That signals to the driver behind you that it's safe for them to pass. You're not going to do anything stupid. So now I'm starting to get passed by all manners of expensive German and Italian automobiles. I'm getting passed by Mercedes AMGs. I'm getting passed by BMWs. I'm getting passed by Ferraris. I'm getting passed Maseratis. This is just my worst nightmare coming true, because not only am I full focused on what I'm doing on the track, you have to be in your mirrors constantly, and I mean constantly. You're just constantly looking in your mirrors. You're looking for people all over the place. And I got my brother next to me, and he's pointing and he's saying, there's someone coming. And I'm like, can you please be quiet? I know they're coming. And I'm trying to be good, but I'm also trying I'm trying to be nice, and I'm concentrating, and I'm also pulling over to the right a lot because of the close release of everybody. There wasn't as much space as there normally would be. So I'm freaking out. The whole time I'm running this lap, I am freaking out. And so I'm coming, you're coming down this area, and you can see ink coming up behind me at a slower pace than what I was getting passed at. I was probably running about 80, 90 miles an hour on the straights and taking it semi-easy in the corners because, like I said, I'm driving it like I'm going up a mountain. I don't want to go over the side of the mountain. That's going to kill you. So, and I'm avoiding the curbs at all costs. I actually have a picture of me going through this corner. It's awesome. So while I'm waiting for people to pass me, at the same time, I'm also trying to make my lines and hit my corners from what I can remember from driving this on Gran Turismo, because I did some runs on Gran Turismo Sport before I left. And I'm trying to remember all of this while it's physically demanding also, and I'm sick. So it's also physically demanding on you, because in a sim, you're not, in these video game sims, you're not getting thrown around the car. I'm not getting thrown around the car a lot, but you are getting the weight shifts and you are leaning into it. So as I'm coming down this part of the track, I'm getting several more cars much faster than me, much more expensive than me, are passing me, and I'm actually taking this part of the course as far right as I can, because I think I got passed by 3 or 4 cars going through all this. Once we got to this, I was able to open up. The other thing they don't tell you on the game is, you're feeling you can see the car bumping around. On the track, you actually catch air on some of these bumps. So when you're catching air, you have to make sure your car's straight, and when you land, that you're not turning the wheel, because you're going to snap over to wherever you were pointed. So you have to remember that too. This is all stuff that's coming back to me, and why I was scared shitless. I said it. I was scared shitless driving this lap. So we're coming up to the end of the backside here, going up the hill. second gear here, come out, and now we're heading to the carousel. And when I got out of this corner, I looked up and there was a Porsche coming up behind me really fast. So I could not take the carousel. I had to go around the outside, and my brother yelled at me because he said, "Why didn't you take the carousel?" I said, "Dude, that 911 was going to hit me if I did. I had to get out of there." Okay. And he saw the 911 go around me and go, "All right, that's fine." Fine. And I let up for a little bit because I'm like, this is killing me. Mentally, I'm fried and I'm getting dogged by these cars. So I take a little mental break. I slow down. I stay to the right. I have my hazards on mostly through this whole section. And then I'm like, F it. And turned off my hazards. I think I got passed by someone in this corner. And then I turned off my hazards and said, F it, I'm driving. And I let it go. I was having fun. I threw the car into these corners. I was whacking the door sill. I'm 6'4" and I'm thick. So I'm whacking the door. My head's hitting the side, but I got a helmet on, so I don't care. And I'm just flying through this section of the course and just having a great time. And finally, as we get closer to this section, other cars started catching me and I started moving over to the right again. But I was really enjoying it. And, you know, around here I let a couple more cars pass and then I got back on it again because now I'm relaxed. I'm like, okay, this car now feels semi-familiar. And I'm starting to understand that what I can do again, because I haven't driven a car this hard in ages. So now I'm getting into the mini carousel, which I did take, and I have a picture of that too. I have a couple of pictures that were taken by pros. It was awesome. There I checked my tires and realized I didn't need to be on mediums for a whole lap and keep changing them. Anyway. Now I'm like, okay, foot down. I'm done. I want to hit 200 kilometers. I want to hit 200 kilometers an hour. And by God, before I had to pull off the track, I hit 200 kilometers an hour. And it was a great feeling. And I pulled off and we got done and we got over to the car park and we were going to switch. And I got out of the car and told my brother, "Last 2 laps are yours. I'm done." And he goes, "Really?" And I said, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I'm dead. Physically, I'm dead. Mentally, I'm dead. I've got nothing left. So he took the last 2 laps and I sat off to the side and I would watch for him and hope he crashed, and I would hope not. He wasn't one of them. So that's my Nürburgring story. And maybe I'll tell you more about it some other time. But we're coming to the finish line. We're going to finish 8th. And, yeah, that's the Nürburgring, kids. I love this place. I love Germany. I can't wait to go back there again. But I won't be doing that again. So, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, comment down below. Please keep it clean. And I hope to talk to you guys again real